Hey guys, welcome back to I'm Just a Fan. It's your host Ben, and today we're going to be talking about why are people not excited for Super Bowl 59? Let's get into it. The first reason I think people aren't excited for the Super Bowl is just the fact that most people are starting to get fatigued with Mahomes and Kelce. You see these guys in every commercial. You see them on, well, not necessarily Mahomes, but you see Kelce all over podcasts. You even see his brother all over the place as well, who is pretty much associated with Travis Kelce. There's the whole thing with Taylor Swift. There's all of that. And also the Chiefs have been here numerous times. This is their fifth Super Bowl appearance in 6 years. I think America's starting to get a little fatigued, which happens with every team that is that good. So I think that's got to be the main reason why. That's what I've mostly seen, at least on social media and with the people that I've talked to in real life. Next would be the narrative that has been growing over the last couple years, but has really been amplified this last year. The refs are creating calls that are getting the Chiefs a victory. Now, I have to preface, I don't necessarily agree with this outlook on just the whole situation. Have there been calls that have definitely helped the Chiefs out? Yes. But you cannot convince me that the NFL is rigging games for the Chiefs. Why would they do that? This might be a whole another video in itself, so I'm not going to go too into it, but I just don't see why. If everyone hates the Chiefs and people potentially aren't going to watch this year, why would the NFL then continue to, get calls for the Chiefs? That doesn't really make sense to me. The next one, and this applies to all sports. This applies to the Yankees of the 90s. This applies to the Lakers of the early 2000s. The Patriots of the 2000s and the 2010s. People hate dominance. People hate seeing a team win a lot in a short amount of period of time. And when I say a short amount of period of time, about 3 to 5 years. New England's was pretty much 20 years. But I think a lot of people just, again, they don't like seeing a team win a lot, which I don't necessarily agree with. Again, that's just not how I roll. I wasn't around for the 90s Bulls. I wasn't around for the 90s Yankees. I wasn't around for the early 2000s Lakers. But people definitely were fatigued with the Patriots. And we're seeing that same fatigue right now with the Chiefs. So I think that's playing a factor as well. Now to talk about why people aren't interested because of the Eagles. I think a lot of people hate their fans. Now, I will say I am an Eagles fan, so I do get not necessarily affected by that narrative, but I'm a little sensitive to it. But at the same time, I totally understand where people are coming from. I just went to the last 3 games in the playoffs. I didn't see anyone get too crazy, but there is definitely some heckling, potential stealing of hats of the opponent fans' teams. Little things like that can really piss people off. And of course, there's just a narrative that's been around for 50, 60 years at this point that Philadelphia fans are just not good fans, which I think is kind of BS, to be honest. I just think we showed in another way. But again, I think that's why a lot of people have a hard time rooting for Philly, because they know people that are, again, associated with that fan base are going to be happy, and I think a lot of people would rather see them down and sad. Next is the narrative that's really been growing, I would say the last 2 years, but specifically this year, is I don't think a lot of people like Jalen Hurts. A lot of people don't like him. I don't know if it's the way his personality comes off with his most recent example with the straitjacket comment. I don't really see that as being that bad of a thing. I wasn't personally offended by it or anything like that, or I didn't take it the wrong way, but a lot of people did. I also just think a lot of people don't like that a lot of people do consider him a great quarterback. And, there was that narrative the last couple weeks, really dating back to early December, late November, that he can't throw, which to me is plain out disrespectful to Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying he's had the best passing year ever, but then again, if you really know the game, you would know that this guy has been not necessarily had his number called on. The Eagles have not needed Jalen Hurts to be that guy this year. But you just saw it on Sunday against the Commanders. He just cooked them. He did it with his legs. He did it with his arms. I don't know. It's an interesting take, but I think that could be playing a factor. And the last one is A.J. Brown rubs people the wrong way occasionally. Some people don't love that he's a little bit more outspoken after a bad loss or if they need to get the passing game going like after the Carolina game. And a lot of people didn't like the antics with him with the book. I'm not going to say I was in love with it, but at the same time, there is evidence out there that he's been doing this, so I'm not going to hate it. Did I think it was interesting? Sure. But is it going to absolutely sway my opinion on one of the best receivers in football? No, I love A.J. Brown. So, and again, I'm biased, but I don't know. Some people don't like him. I think that's probably the last reason why some people may not be in love with this Super Bowl matchup. Now, here's a few reasons why you should be excited for this matchup. These are the two best teams in the NFL. Let's keep it a buck. You can make the argument for Detroit, sure. But Detroit's defense has been banged up since the middle of the season, and we've all known that. And we saw it against the Commanders. That team was not ready. They just were not ready. And really, they weren't capable to win some of these big games at this point of the season. Because that defense was so banged up. And again, you can make the argument on offense that Detroit had the best offense in the NFC, sure. But I think when you look at the body of work this year, the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion, at least in the NFC, are the best team by far. They're the best defense in the league. They have one of the best offenses in the league. Even if the passing metrics don't show it, you see the talent out there. So I think in the NFC standpoint, Philadelphia really comes to play with all that talent, and they've shown it all year. I mean, they just put up 55 in the freaking NFC Championship. And then when we flip it to the AFC, it's hard to say that the Chiefs are the best team in the conference. You can make the arguments, Baltimore's up there, Buffalo. But at the same time, Kansas City just wins. It's what they do. They went 15-2 for a reason. And one of those losses was because they put their backups out in Week 18, and they lost by I think like 38 points. They really had one loss this year. So I don't want to hear that. I think this is personally the best matchup that out of any matchups for the Super Bowl we could have gotten. This is better than Commanders-Bills. This is better than Eagles-Bills, though I think that still would have been good, but I think the Eagles probably would have beat them by like 10. Commanders-Chiefs, let's keep it a buck. The Chiefs they're cooking that defense, and I don't know. I think this is the best matchup on paper, at least. I touched on this earlier, but Mahomes is going for a third straight ring. That's something that you can't really play down. And overall, this Chiefs organization is going for that third straight ring. And let's keep it a buck. They already have 3 in I think the last not 4 years but 5 years. I can't remember exactly what it is, but this would be Mahomes' 4th ring. 4th ring. But I think a lot of people, again, that might be playing an impact on why they don't want to watch. But I think, again, you have to appreciate greatness while it's here. You got to appreciate this stuff while it's here. You're not going to see a run like this again for a very long time. Yes, you had this with New England. But other than that, you didn't have that. You go to the 90s, you had it with Dallas. You had it with the 49ers in the 80s as well. And then you have to go all the way back to Pittsburgh to see a team do what Kansas City is trying to pull off. I think people really got to try to appreciate this stuff. And I'm saying that as an Eagles fan. Another reason why you should be excited is just to see the Eagles finally get it done. If you love football, this Eagles team has been dominant all year. They've been dominant all year. And to cap it off, to win a Super Bowl, to cement themselves as the best Eagles team of all time would be insane. It also would really put the Eagles on there as a dominant organization in the NFL. The Eagles, in my opinion, are already an elite organization in the NFL, but they would be a dominant organization in the NFL. You won it in 17. You lost the Super Bowl in 22. And now for the 24 season, you're trying to win one. This is now your 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 7 years. And would be your 2nd Super Bowl in 7 years. That caps off a pretty good run, if you ask me. And the Eagles have done this with numerous players, numerous coaches. How many organizations can say that? The Chiefs can't say that. The Patriots can't say that. So I think that's something to be rooting for. And of course, everyone's favorite, including myself. Saquon Barkley would finally get a ring. And for him to win a Super Bowl next Sunday and cap off the best running back season we've ever seen in NFL history would be something straight out of, a storybook or something like that, almost like a tale of legends. It would be phenomenal to see that. And to see him get out of New York, one of the worst organizations in the league, living off the last 2 Super Bowls that they've had. Other than that, they just haven't been a good organization. To see him come to Philadelphia, one of their rivals, if not their biggest rival, and again, cap it off with the best rushing season ever, would just be phenomenal. So those are some reasons why you should get excited for this. There's a lot to root for in this game. But that's all I have for today. Just wanted to make a quick one. Just wanted to see what you guys are thinking. And again, if you're not excited for the Super Bowl, please let me know in the comments why. Is it one of the reasons I stated? Is it another reason that I didn't state? Let me know. Like, I really am making this video because I am curious. I'm just curious because it doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. But again, I value other people's perspectives and I like that stuff. So let me know down below. And again, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a like. And if you like my type of content, subscribe.